Thanks for joining us for CBN's On the Home Front, where we highlight what the men and women of America's military do to defend our country. I'm George Thomas. The 18-year war in Afghanistan may be coming to a close as U.S. and Afghan diplomats negotiate for peace with the Taliban. But with rising violence and presidential elections they're less than a month away, no one is certain what Afghanistan will look like by the end of the year. Chuck Holton traveled to Kabul to find out.
This Afghan street market in the capital city of Kabul is bustling after Friday prayers. But there's a tension in the air anytime large groups of people are found in one place. The threat of suicide bombers is at an all-time high and are now an almost daily occurrence. In late July, the city suffered 3 car bombs in one day. Abdul Muhammad was nearby for one of them.
I was doing my duty inside our compound. I heard an explosion and I came out. I saw a couple of wounded victims on the ground near our office and over there. The target was 2 vehicles, but I don't know who was inside the vehicles.
Donald Trump says he's tired of hearing that the United States is losing the war in Afghanistan, and he says the American people feel the same way. And that's why the U.S. military has been having talks with our enemies, the Taliban, here in Afghanistan to try to come up with a ceasefire. But even while they're doing that, the Taliban has been stepping up attacks around Kabul, like the one that happened right here in front of Kabul University in mid-July. It killed more than 10 people. But if we've learned anything from the precipitous pullout that happened in 2011 in Iraq, it's that if we pull out too soon or in the wrong way, it could have serious consequences for the United States in the future. Over 17,000 coalition troops are still in the country, but their role has changed dramatically from direct action to one that's more focused on advise and assist. This means Afghan troops are doing the lion's share of the fighting and dying as well. While the U.S. has lost 12 soldiers this year, the Afghans regularly suffer over 100 soldiers killed in action in an average week. Another contributing factor to the uptick in violence we're seeing across Afghanistan right now are the upcoming presidential elections at the end of September. Back in July, there was a massive complex attack at this building behind me, which were the offices of the president's running mate, Ashraf Ghani, the president of Afghanistan, the incumbent. And it just shows that the Taliban is flexing its muscles in advance of that upcoming election. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said in August that the solutions to Afghanistan's problems are diplomatic, not military, and that the U.S. is committed to working with the Afghan government to finally extricate our forces from the country.
President Trump has made very clear that his desires that we develop a diplomatic resolution that permits us to reduce the resources that are located there in country while simultaneously ensuring that Afghanistan never again becomes a platform where a terror can strike the United States of America.
Despite the recent increases in violence, things have gotten better in Afghanistan since I started coming here, at least back in 2007, 2008. You can look at factors like the infant mortality rate, which has gone way down. Gross domestic product is 5 times what it used to be. Then life expectancy, which was only 43 years, is now in the mid-60s. So things are getting better, but the concern is that if the U.S. leaves precipitously, it could cause a lot of those gains to be reversed. But for the shoppers in this Afghan market, the best future they can hope for right now is to simply make it home to their families for one more day. From Kabul, Afghanistan, I'm Chuck Holton for CBN News.
But for now, the U.S. is still on the ground in Afghanistan, preparing for any potential scenarios. Pararescue men and aeromedical evacuation airmen teamed up for a training event at Bagram Airfield in Afghanistan. One Air Force service member tells us why he has the best job in the world.
We move our wounded warriors, so it's a crazy honor for us to do that. So when someone is injured downrange or back stateside, you know, we're the avenue to get them from a lower echelon of care to a higher echelon of care. I was out here in 2014, 5 years ago, and it was a little busier, it seemed. Then we had a little larger patient loads. But after that deployment, I got to go really just, it was actually a quilters meeting with my mom, and they made some quilts for veterans, and it was kind of weird, but one of the Marines that we brought back ended up showing up there, and he had an amputated hand and a broke ankle, from his injuries, and he got to show up there. I'm going to try not to get too emotional, but he showed up there and actually talked about his patient movement. He had a little kid there that was, excuse me, that was born after he got home. So that's really what makes this job so important. There's so much honor in it whenever we can bring home someone to their kid or their daughter or their wife or mom or dad. That's really why this is the best job I could ever imagine doing.
The Marines and Navy are also ensuring regional stability in the Middle East. Teams continue to protect the skies over the Arabian Sea by preparing and taking care of aircraft aboard the USS Boxer. Take a look.
The maintainer is hardworking, a problem solver, motivated. They keep the MEU flying.
That's why I chose to be one. My name is Corporal Timothy Berman. I'm a V-22 avionics technician collateral duty inspector, and I'm in VMM 163. As maintainer's place on the MEU is a very big place. These aircraft fly almost daily. Aircraft have a lot of discrepancies they need to get fixed. It's our job to fix them. Being on the MEU, we're in a different environment. These birds react differently to it. Having the saltwater air around us, that's definitely kind of bad for our avionics components. So we see a lot of different issues that we wouldn't see as to where back in the rear.
So without safe aircraft, without the maintainers providing safe aircraft and providing safe maintenance done on those aircraft, the aircraft wouldn't be able to fly and transport people from point A to point B. Without maintainers, you wouldn't be able to sustain aircraft. The aircraft wouldn't be able to fly. You wouldn't be able to transport those ground troops from the boat to shore and back.
Yes, Marines! Yes, Marines!
What keeps me motivated to keep working on these hot days is making sure that the aircraft have safe maintenance performed on them.
My little girl, I work every day to see her.
Being that force of readiness, the fact that I'm part of something big, part of something a lot bigger than what I am.
Being able to see the aircraft that I work on eventually take off and fly, and to me that's the most rewarding part of my job.
One of the most important parts of the military is building good leaders so that each branch can accomplish its mission. But Air University's command chief says it's more than just that. He says it's about taking care of each individual person.
So when I think about organizational culture, I think about how do we educate leaders? How do we educate leaders to define organizational culture in a way that you not only count mission accomplishment? That mission accomplishment is everyone showing up healthy. That mission accomplishment is onboarding, is the airmen that the Air Force gives you. And if they decide to serve 4 or 6 years at first term or whatever, offboarding them as healthy as they can be. That's the way I look at the way I deal with people. Say, hey, I have at this point an 18-year-old and a 22-year-old, both who are military age. And I can only imagine if I give you my daughter, because she wants to serve, and I say, here you go. Here's this vibrant young woman who I'm giving to you to go serve her country. As a parent, the expectation probably is that hopefully when you give her back to me, that she's better, she's happy, she's vibrant, and that she's taken care of. Yes, the business that we're in is sometimes ugly. Yes, we have to go fight for our country. Yes, those things happen. Yes, we have veterans suffering from wartime wounds. Those things absolutely are understandable. But no one should walk through the door of one of our squadrons. No one should ever walk into their dormitory. No one should ever walk or drive through the gates of a military institution and become broken. At the end of the day, for me, it's about taking care of the person. It's not to say that you're gonna go around, you got a 250-person squadron, that you gotta stand at the door like you're in elementary school and greet everybody and go, how you doing? How you doing? That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that you have to be cognizant of the people that you lead. You have to model the behavior that you want others to follow. So the behavior that you model at all levels, no matter if you're the janitor, no matter if you're here to be the 3-star general, the behavior that you model will be the behavior of the organization. And that's culture.
After the break, one man's journey through a deployment to the Middle East and how he remembers one specific day 10 years later.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary. Or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.
It has the power to influence weight loss, boost your immune system, and improve brain function.
We've seen an explosion of data on the role of the gut microbiome in health.
The free Build a Better Gut booklet reveals the latest information about the gut microbiome. You'll discover how your gut affects the rest of your health.
The gut microbiome has been linked to depression and cancer and heart disease.
Learn how to build a stronger, healthier gut.
The microbiome, if it's in good composition, are really protecting us all the time from more invasive things.
Get the Build a Better Gut booklet, free from the Christian Broadcasting Network. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com/buildabettergut.
You need to make sure that your microbes are working with you, not against you.
And if you order online, you'll get immediate access to the Build a Better Gut series, a digital copy of the booklet, and related bonus material. Build a Better Gut today. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com/buildabettergut for your free copy.
Here, we're committed to a heritage of rigorous scholarship dating back over 1,000 years.
And to a faith tradition dating back 1,000 more.
This is how we create a culture of inquiry where no topic is off limits.
And a culture of hope.
Anything's possible!
It's Christian leadership.
And it's changing the world for the better.
It's higher learning.
It's greater knowing.
It's what makes us whole.
It's what makes us regent.
Roman soldiers destroy the Second Temple of Jerusalem. Centuries of eyewitnesses say the temple treasures survived. But where are they?
They went from Jerusalem to Rome, Rome to Carthage, Carthage to Byzantium.
Historians are silent about what happened to it next.
CBN Documentaries presents the worldwide release of Treasures of the Second Temple.
So does it still exist today?
A story of mystery.
Where is it?
Calamity.
Most of the victims were butchered.
And destiny.
The possibility to dig is impossible.
Get your copy of Treasures of the Second Temple. Yours for a gift of any amount to CBN Documentaries.
Welcome back. In this video series, Stories from War, veterans associated with the North Carolina National Guard share their life-changing journey serving their country. The series includes stories from across the generations, including veterans from World War II, Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan. Captain Ellis Parks deployed with the 30th Heavy Brigade Combat Team to Iraq in 2009. He shares his story.
We get another call in the talk, and at this time I think I'm getting ready to get fired. Like there was transitioning people around, and I was happy to be get ready to be fired, and I was hoping to be fired. That was my whole point, was to get out of that talk. We get this 9-line. The first 4 lines of a 9-line is all you need to react. So this guy comes over. We hear somebody come over the net, and they come over the net, and they start calling this 9-line. And we were like, okay, everybody in the talk is spinning. This kid, this voice sounding real young, and he comes over and he starts calling this 9-line. And the digits that he gave us, Sergeant Gross runs over to the board, because we got our talk kind of set up like we want to now. Runs over to the board, and he says, "Sir, they can't be there. That's the wrong grid coordinate." And we call back and we say, hey, listen, that grid that you gave us is wrong. Can you give us a better grid? We just give us 6. We don't even need 8. We know you're somewhere on Route Jackson. We need you to give us another grid. He gave us another 8. They're still wrong. He's calling that the numbers wrong. Oh, and now we're like, okay, maybe they're reversed. Maybe he doesn't know what he's doing. Maybe he does. And he says, never mind, I'm coming into 5 Falcon right now. Have the gates open. And I'm like, okay. So I get in touch with this little specialist named Marsh. I say, hey, Marsh, get in touch with our gate guys. And the Ugandans ran our gate. Let them know that someone's coming in the gate. And we knew it was Air Force that was coming in, EOD. This guy comes in. They open at the gate, and the Ugandan calls back over our regular net and says, he's hurt really bad. We were like, roger that, we got it, we know. He's already called his 9 line. He says, no, he's hurt really bad. And we were like, what is this guy talking about? So, because our medic team, Lieutenant Huda and his team was supposed to meet them at the front gate. But this guy, the way I'm to understand it, was coming in pretty hot. And ended up finding out that there was a lieutenant from the Air Force that had called this 9 line in, was calling his own 9 line and was driving because his driver had passed out or something. And then when I eventually got to where he was, like his leg was gone. Basically, like it's no more. It was shattered to a point where, they were ready to move him to Germany was when I got to where he was. And I just wanted to know that this is what was going on. I mean, it was a matter of like an hour, between the time that he was calling this 9 line, it wasn't even an hour, to the time I finally made it over to the medic unit to find out who this guy was. And he's talking they say he had passed out as soon as he got in the gate. So he just drove up, passed out. But then when I got to him, he was talking and apologizing for getting the wrong grid coordinate. And I'm sitting there like, man, how can you be that guy? How can you be that powerful? Like, how can you be that individual who can call your own 9 line in? It's not like a medical alert bracelet where you just push the button, I've fallen, I can't get up. This is a guy who's probably getting ready to lose his leg, who got hit. If there was ever an amazing moment to me while we were in Iraq, that captured that moment for me. I bottled that. And I don't get sad because I don't think he was sad. Now I don't know what happened to his driver. I'm hoping that he did live, but to me, in my mind, that kid, he's a superhero.
Up next, how the Army is planning to highlight and tell soldier stories, where you'll be able to dive into its history.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
On October 1st, 1961, history was made when a tiny station began transmitting the first signals of the Christian Broadcasting Network.
CBN, the Christian Broadcasting Network.
And now, a new era has begun with the all-new CBN News Channel.
Just moments ago, the Iron Dome intercepted an incoming rocket right on the Gaza border.
And ministering in this area, spiritual warfare is definitely involved.
A 24/7 news network, bringing you the news you want from a source you can trust.
In Kenya, 40% of the medical services are actually provided by these Christian hospitals.
Let's talk about the economy.
Believers here are joining together to win people to Jesus Christ.
All your favorite shows now in one place. Go to CBNNewsChannel.com to find out how to get the CBN News Channel on your TV all day, every day. CBN News.
Even though the U.S. Army is the oldest branch of the U.S. military, it's the only service without its own national museum. In 2020, that is set to change. The future capstone of the Army is still under construction on a hill in Northern Virginia. That's where we find our Gabe LaMonica for a preview.
When it opens, the steel fortress behind me is going to be the Army's first national museum. It's been a long time coming, but the Army took us inside for a sneak peek. The big reveal of the U.S. Army emblem on the lobby floor comes some 2 years after installing the final steel beam, and some 200 years after the 13th U.S. Congress authorized a national museum for the Army.
We are the last service to have its own national museum.
It took a lot of heavy lifting to move in everything from this Cobra King battle tank, the first in Bastogne 38-ton legend that broke the German lines during World War II's Battle of the Bulge, to this M3 Bradley fighting vehicle that led the charge in the 2003 invasion of Baghdad. All before suspending this Vietnam-era UH-1 Huey from the ceiling and bringing in hundreds of artifacts in between. Now, the oldest branch of the U.S. military is rolling along and into a 185,000 square foot glass and steel citadel above 84 acres some 20 miles south of the nation's capital.
It represents a beacon, again, the strength of the Army, the safety of the Army, and that's how we protect our citizens as well.
Tammy Call is the museum director.
We tell the Army's story, the comprehensive story, through the eyes and voices of our individual soldiers.
One of those voices belonging to the late Melvin Nestaby, who survived the Bataan Death March during World War II.
I will always be a soldier.
Hundreds of American soldiers died when the Japanese Army beat and tortured prisoners of war during a forced march of more than 60 miles.
A well of water springing up into everlasting life.
Nestaby's New Testament Pocket Bible is just one of over 7.4 million copies issued to American GIs during World War II.
Lack of water or starving, this helped them through that time.
And this good book carried Nestaby past the perils of murder and disease over the course of 4 POW camps in 3.5 years.
He carried that with him throughout the duration of the war.
Paul Mirando is the chief of exhibits.
He gave his life, his service to the United States Army, and his story, along with this Bible, needs to be told.
The museum will cover the history of the Army from the Revolutionary War to the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. The Army says that after over 240 years, this testament to its service and its soldiers is long overdue. Gabe LaMonica, CBN News, Fort Belvoir, Virginia.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after this.
Give me that. Bye. Sure, life is busy, but I found a way to make a huge difference in people's lives. I guess you could say I'm changing the world right here from home. I bring medical supplies and doctors to people in need, and dig wells so that villagers can have clean and safe water to drink. I make it possible to preach the gospel in over 100 countries, including right here in America. And when disaster strikes, I'm there, providing food, thank you, and emergency supplies to give people hope again. Every day, CBN and I are making the world a better place. Here you go. My life is hectic, so I joined CBN through Pledge Express. My bank does all the work, and I know that my gift is being used where it's needed most. So become a CBN partner and join Pledge Express, because you can do a world of good right from where you are. Hi, good morning. Are you ready to get started?
Hey, if you're tired and exhausted all day, you can't think clearly, and you really just need a cup or even a pot of coffee to get through your day, then join me, Dr. Josh Axe, for this new series where I'm going to teach you how to transform your diet and use essential oils and supplements to get a better night's sleep.
Protect your sleep and live your best life with innovative information from 5 leading sleep experts.
If you're not a great sleeper, you can do things to make yourself a great sleeper. If you're already a pretty good sleeper, you can enhance your sleep and be even better.
Discover a sleep-enhancing bedtime routine, how to put insomnia to rest, learn how to relieve pain that disturbs sleep, and much more in Protect Your Sleep.
Everything you do better with a good night's sleep.
Wake up to your best life. Call 1-800-700-7000 to get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
Don't miss out on this brand new series.
The Air Force is known for taking care of its people, and by putting families first, they continue to meet the needs of airmen who may just be making it by. At bases across the country, volunteers run what is called an Airman's Attic for lower-ranked members and their families to get anything they need for free. Here's a look at just what they provide on Cannon Air Force Base in New Mexico.
My name is Sergeant Whitaker. I'm an aircraft electrical environmental systems specialist, FTE instructor. So I typically come at lunches whenever they're open, and then I just come down here and help out with stuff. We go through and sort donations. Everything at the Airman's Attic is provided by military families, and it's given to military families, and that is the whole basis of the Airman's Attic. So we have a lot of different services. The main one that we have is the donations. We have uniforms, there's going to be household goods, baby stuff. A lot of time we have furnitures, TVs, and everything is just available. In addition to that, we have a couple other programs that just recently started. We've teamed up with the thrift store, and so we provide airmen between the ranks of E1 to E4 with gift certificates that they can use over there. And so since we have the Airman's Attic open, it allows people to come in and be able to get stuff to provide for their families that would normally cause a larger financial stress in their life. We also started a new volunteer program just recently. This is the first month that it's going to be implemented, and the top 2 people that volunteer the most are going to be provided gift certificates and awards. We have a Facebook page. It's called the Cannon Airman's Attic, and then they can contact us at any time on there, and we'll provide them either a time to come in if they want to have a set time to come in, or people just volunteer when we're open. So we're open on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, we're open from 10 to 2, and then on Thursdays from 11 to 5. So if anyone walks in and they're free for a little bit on their lunch and they want to volunteer, we're always welcome to have them come.
Well, that is all for today, but you can find more of our exclusive news coverage at cbnnews.com. We hope you will join us again next time. Have a great day.